Joining me now, Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, Fox News analyst. Newt, you've been in debates before, big stages. You're a master of them. Your advice to President Trump?
Well, I'd say first, watch the 3 Reagan presidential debates. Notice the style, the calmness, the use of humor, staying balanced. Second, answer the question you wish they'd ask. Don't get involved in games with the reporters. The reporters are every person on that stage is anti-Trump. And accept that going in and just relax. And then I would, as often as I could, I think, I would say to Biden, have you been to a grocery store? Do you have any idea the damage your policies have done to everyday Americans? And I would talk with the American people, not with the politicians. And I'd make my entire debate about the future of the American people and the fact that Biden's a failure. It's not complicated. I think if Biden starts talking about taxes, I might be tempted to say, you mean people who cheat on their taxes like Hunter? I mean, is that what your reference is to? I think if Biden tries to pretend he knows foreign policy, I think it's legitimate to turn and say, you know, Putin was a KGB lieutenant colonel in Germany 40 years ago. Now, did you really know him 40 years? I don't understand what you were saying. Did you really know him? I think the more that Trump should be cheerful, talk to the American people, answer the question you wish they had asked, and then occasionally ask Biden questions about Biden's behavior. I think the debate will be over.
And how about since Biden hates answering questions because he has to fumble around for notes, ask Biden questions like, why did you abandon minority voters? Why did you promise them the moon and yet their cities are laid waste to by illegal immigration and crime? Why have you done that to the country? I think Biden will collapse. Just if you pose a few questions on behalf of the people who've suffered so much under his policies, Newt, what about that?
Well, I think that's part of it. I think the other is the Trump campaign should push very hard to have it be a standing debate, not sitting. And they should push very hard to have no notes. I mean, if Trump obviously can operate without notes because he does it all the time.
Right.
If Biden had to actually go into a debate with no notes, it'd be interesting to see how many minutes in. You can almost have a running pool. You know, how many minutes will it take Biden to start falling apart?
Well, the CNN is breaking from tradition, Newt. Maybe you saw this, New York Post reporting that there are going to be commercial breaks in this debate. And Trump agreed to all these rules, but he's going to need to get some help in the commercials. I mean, I don't know what's going on with that.
Look, this is a cheap shot, Laura, so forgive me, but if you had CNN's ratings, you would try to sell every ad you could for any reason. And I think that's part of it is just straight out, they need the money. And part of it is, of course, Biden needs a couple of chances. And the question there will be, he shouldn't be allowed to wear anything in his ear, so he doesn't get any coaching. And during the debate, during the breaks, he has to stay on the stage. Be interesting to see if Biden could actually stay on the stage for 90 minutes. Trump, of course, routinely stays on the stage for 90 minutes because he gets rolling.
Newt, wonderful to see you. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.